What a wonderful day, because this movie slaps. I saw Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, so here's the good and the bad, all without spoilers. The previous trilogy set the bar incredibly high for director Wes Ball. And I'll be honest, when I first saw the trailer for this new movie, I felt kinda apathetic about the whole thing. That original trilogy was great. Was there more that they needed to say or do? Would a new movie in the hands of a new writer and new director be as good? I wasn't sure about an all CGI, very Apes heavily movie. And so I was skeptical of the new Planet of the Apes movie. I was very wrong. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is an epic and sweeping journey, full of heart and interesting new ideas. This new installment is more grandiose and mythical than the previous trilogy, and all the better for it. Set generations after Caesar, we got great new worlds and cultures among different factions of apes. There was just a ton of really interesting world furthering and world building. All of these new characters are super fascinating and well drawn, each one with a specific and distinct point of view and interior life. Writer Josh Friedman is playing with archetypes for sure, but they really work in the case of this larger than life story. The effects are, again, very impressive, but once the story gets going, the magic of the effects disappears, and you just believe the world that you're in. Kingdom is deeply transportive and very immersive. It's not that I want to live or be in that post-apocalypse specifically, because it's kind of a horrible one for humans, but the way that they've rendered it on film in this movie is very lush and detailed and textured. The way it presents the overgrowth of the forest everywhere in this universe is really rich and fascinating. And all of the effects are just so well done that they really draw you in and bring you into this world. Likewise, the action scenes are exciting and well choreographed. They're not even that large until later in the movie, but throughout the run of the film, you get these really exciting and dynamic horseback scenes and combat scenes. It's cool almost how lo-fi the cultures are in the movie, and yet the action is still super palpable and exciting. As for the story, Josh Friedman has crafted a really fascinating narrative with rich story arcs and detailed lead characters. And he threw in a couple of really nice surprises. This movie does not pull punches and made the bold storytelling choices that it needed to without fear. I was really impressed by they held up the stakes and kept the audience engaged by this sense of danger and that really bad things could happen in this universe. They were not afraid to go for it in that way, whereas other franchises sometimes will pull their punches or twist maybe a character death or something and be like, oh, just kidding, this character didn't really die. This movie was not afraid to just go for it. Lead actors Owen Teague, Kevin Durand, and Freya Allen are all excellent. But Peter Macon's Raka was a true highlight. He brought the right amount of humor to cut the tension, and I could easily see that character becoming a fan favorite. The whole cast was great. It seems that they cast a lot of lesser-known actors, maybe to save more on money, but they all were fantastic in the motion capture performances. You really got the sense of emotion and humanity and heart behind all of these characters, or in some cases in the villains, their rage and anger and quest for power. It all came across quite beautifully. That said, I have some minor issues with the movie. At 2 hours and 25 minutes, it's probably about 20 minutes too long. There were some extra scenes late in the second act that I felt were superfluous and kind of redundant. It's unfortunate because at that point you want the pacing to be quickening, and instead this really slows the movie down, and I kind of felt myself getting impatient with the story being like, all right, let's get to it. Let's get to the climax, really push the story forward. And at that point in the movie, it kind of just sits there, and that was a little bit frustrating. Also, I found the score to be distractingly overstated and telegraphed every single emotion. I appreciate a great score that can really enhance the emotions of a movie, but when it's doing that before things happen and it's really telling you, it's almost spoiling things for you as they're about to happen because the score is so overbearing. So I wish they had just pulled that back a little bit. And then I wish they had introduced the main villain earlier. The big bad guy, Proximus Caesar, doesn't appear till later in the film, and I think that it would have served the narrative well if they had given us a glimpse of him and his power early on. I understand why they wanted to reveal it later to make it a big reveal, but it felt like we just didn't get enough of him to know who he truly was until later, and if we had that before, it might have even upped the stakes more. In general, though, this movie is great. The Apes franchise is in really good shape, and we should be excited for whatever comes next.